librarians. Well, now Blake he'll always be a librarian at heart, right, Blake? But he's now an assistant principal, which I think makes it even cooler that he's such a champion for reading. And so we have Blake and Amanda and Deb with me today. But we're going to just kick it off by sharing this link in case you need any resources afterwards. We'll also put the recording. I'll make sure the recording is in the slides too. And we're excited because we're going to talk about just reading and how we can transform literacy in the library and the classroom. And there's so many things that go on each and every year, and we all have new ideas and stories to share. So this is going to be a really fun one. My name is Shannon McClintock Miller, and I'm the district teacher librarian at Van Meter Community School in Van Meter, Iowa. I'm lucky because I get to work with all kids from preschool to 12th grade under one roof. And so we do a lot of things that bring reading and that love of reading to our kids and to our teachers and community. You can also find me on my blog, The Library Voice, and on X and Instagram at Shannon Miller, and I put my email in there as well. I'm also really excited to share that our friends at Capstone are doing a really special Spooky Stories giveaway today. I love all these books. I don't know about you guys, but my kids love scary books. Like, I cannot keep them on the shelf. It doesn't matter if it's Halloween or if it is like any time of year. And so these are great series, and that little picture in the middle also shows more spooky stories from Capstone. And so that is a great catalog. I showed that to my kids the other day and they got so excited about all of these. And so we're going to pick 2 winners at the end of our webinar that will get all of these books from Capstone. So I'm excited about that too. So today we're going to do our webinar. I'm excited because we're going to hear from our 3 guests, hear a little bit more about them, and then just talk about how they transform literacy in the library and classroom. And we're going to kick it off today with Blake.
Hey everyone, like Shannon said, my name is Blake Hopper. I am an assistant principal, but I always like to say I'm a recovering school librarian. I was a school librarian for 10 years in the primary and the middle school. I'm in Claiborne County, Tennessee. That's East Tennessee. That's where Cumberland Gap, Kentucky meet. My school, I can be at either state in 5 minutes. So I'm right nestled up there. So I'm super excited to be here and share some ideas that I have. Oh, and you can find me on Instagram, all the places at the Lit Principal. I used to be the traveling librarian and decided I'd spice things up and be the Lit Principal. So this is just talking about some of the things that I've done. I was the librarian at TNT there at the primary school for 5 years. We had about 550 kids. While I was there, we completely weeded and updated the collection. We got to add new furniture, new flooring, new paint, murals, all that budded from us wanting to create that culture of reading in the classrooms and in the school library and school-wide. Now I'm an assistant principal at a middle school in East Tennessee at H.Y. Livesey Middle School. No one knows how to pronounce Liverseed correctly. It's because we don't say it how it's spelled. So our librarian has a fixed flex schedule here, and actually we're hiring a librarian at this moment. So if anyone wants to move to East Tennessee, come be my librarian. I'd love it. We got to completely remodel the library last year before our librarian left. We got to weed it. We got the Laura Bush grant in addition to our county budgets. So we've worked really hard to improve and bring in that culture. And that's what I'm going to talk about today on my slides is some of the things that we've done to do that. So we want to create book joy. So these are some pictures there, some things that I did when I was in the library at TNT. We made it a #1 priority. I met with my principal when I first got hired on at that school. We set some common goals, some common trends that we wanted to see happen. And together we formed that relationship and really worked hard to build this culture at our school. We reached out to stakeholders to get them involved and invite them into the school and the library. We wanted to think outside the box, so we did like the 40 book challenge. We would do bingo and have different activities on the bingo cards for the students and staff to use. So it'd be like read a snowman in January. It'd be like read a snowman book or make a snowflake in the makerspace. something like that. And then we really focused on, like I said, weeding that collection, updating it, because if you have packed shelves and all that stuff on there, kids are not going to be drawn to that. So we really wanted to make sure the kids could find the books that they wanted. So we binned a lot of books in our everyone section and in our nonfiction section, to make those books easily accessed for them. Another thing when I go around and present, because this is one of my passions, is I always include in my book joy presentation is utilize your school librarian. I'm sure we have lots of school librarians on here, so I always throw that out there that if you're going to create book joy in your schools, utilize your school librarian. They're not sitting there just collecting a paycheck and shushing people all day. They're there to help and to curate resources and build that book joy and book talk and share books and all the things. And also, like I said, we want to get kids what they want to read. When last year we had a teacher that said, well, my kids can't read graphic novels, or I just don't like them. I said, well, that doesn't matter because they like them. So you have to get on that same page and get those books and get those things that they want. And so that's what we're really working on now. At the middle school. And those pictures show we did some reading parties, and we did this in the middle school last year too. We had lots of kids participate. We gave them prizes. They got to pick all kinds of prizes off there and have ice cream and get books. So it was a lot of fun on that day. I think that they really enjoyed it. We did it on the honor system when we reward them. We don't do quizzes and all of that stuff. So we just wanted to have a celebration of it and really build that culture in our school. And then on the next slide, these are some more ideas that we've really worked on building that culture. I didn't get pictures of it because we're doing it right now, but in the library this week, we're doing the book cafe. So they're tasting books, but we did Halloween centerpieces, and on tombstones we wrote the different genres of the books, and we gave them a Halloween book review. And it's not just Halloween books, so it's nonfiction, it's historical fiction, all the different things, and they could review them. And of course, the ELA teachers are giving them extra credit if they turn that in. And then our library TA, she's filling in until we get our full-time back. She came to me and she said, these kids are actually doing it. They're liking it. And they're actually wanting to check out books. And they said, we didn't realize we had these books. Said, yes. Yes, that's what I want to hear. So I didn't get to put that on the slides because we're currently doing it right now, but I'll post it on my Instagram and social media soon. But that was another fun way just to build that culture and think outside the box. Even in middle school, people say, well, middle schoolers don't like to read. That's not true. And we have middle school librarians here right now that'll be talking more about that and talk about the different things that they do. We do posters and pictures and advertising on the screen. The posters, I did those at TNT, and if you've heard the story, I'm sorry, but I always tell it because it's funny and to give a warning. We had these posters posted around our school, and my principal came to me and she said the kindergartners are freaking out and crying in the cafeteria right now. And I was like, well, wow, what's wrong? She said they think all these kids are missing. They thought all these book posters were missing kid posters. So we had to talk to them about why that wasn't true. They were not missing, but it was a big to do at TNT that day. So we do that, and we post pictures of kids' readings on the TV screens, and we make videos to highlight new books when we get in. We do the recommendation carts and the recommendation shelves where they can put a star in there and say recommended by whoever, so they can come grab it, check it out, and go on. And then when I moved to the middle school, I wanted to still work on that culture, like I said, we've been doing. So we have what we're currently reading posters posted outside all of our classrooms, and the teachers they can write on it with a dry erase marker, or they can put the book cover and slap it on there of what they are currently reading. And you'll be surprised how many kids are amazed that we actually read and that we like to read. So all these things are just some ideas that I use at my school to create the book culture. And I told Shannon that I was so excited to be on here because it's really a passion of mine, is creating that book joy culture and letting kids know that you can read and everyone can like reading. It's just finding what you want to read and creating the whole culture around the whole school about it.
And Blake, didn't you just get some kind of recognition too for
Oh,
your?
yes. So Yeah, I was surprised, and I even cried a little bit. I still go to my the librarian conference because those are my friends, and it's kind of like a little reunion. So I took a personal day and went down there, and they all strive to make sure I was coming, and they honored me. I got the Clara Hasbrook Award in Tennessee. That's a big deal because she's the one that created the association. Was a big literacy leader, so I got it for my literacy advocacy and library advocacy in the state. So yeah, I was super honored and excited to get that award.
I'm so proud of you. That's amazing. They're so lucky to have you. And I think it's just so neat that you are such a great voice too now as an administrator, and you have so many things to share. And so we just have to work really hard to get you in front of as many administrators as we can
Yeah,
because you're
that's my
doing.
goal. I want to stick with it too, is so I can get in front of administrators and present and do these things when I go to administrator conferences, do the book joy presentations. Because just because it's literacy, literacy is in everything we do. I don't have to present on a librarian. I can present and throw a librarian in there, but I'm still word. The good news.
It's awesome. Well, thank you, my friend.
Pass me
Next,
on.
yes, thank Next up is Amanda, and I love all the great things that Amanda does. And this week it was so fun because Amanda was actually on our podcast. And so if you haven't checked that out, make sure you check her out on the Leading from the Library podcast too. Take it
I'm
over, my.
so excited to be here. Thank you so much, Shannon. Yes, my name is Amanda Hunt. I am a middle school librarian in New Braunfels, Texas, so in between San Antonio and Austin. Middle school for me is 6 through 8, and absolutely true. Middle schoolers love to read. So we're going to talk about some of the different ways that I try to engage my kids. But you can follow me on social media at the Next Gen Librarian.
Have you really been reading a book a day since 2019?
I have, and it's double last year. It was 600 books last year, so definitely, yeah, it was crazy. That's what happens when you get on a lot of reading list committees.
Well, and if you don't follow Amanda on social, like best book recommendations, and not just for middle school.
Oh,
And so make sure that you follow her because I love everything you recommend and the picture, and you do such a great job.
thank you. I really, I feel like we do so much as school librarians. Like honestly, our job could list for days of all the things that we do, but I feel like at the heart, it's reading, and that's why I'm loving this webinar right now because we get to talk about like our favorite thing, which is reading books. If and I did share this, I share this every single year on social media, but also like with my stakeholders on my campus is our statistics. So if you have not learned yet, administrators, Blake, correct me if I'm wrong, y'all like data. So if we want to get things that happening in our library, we want to get funding, we want to get some attention through the district or beyond. We need to be making sure that we share that information with the people who are coming to our libraries. And so that could be administrators, it could be the public. I make sure to put this on our campus's Facebook page so that our parents see it, because that tends to be the place that they go the most. I send it to the students. They're always shocked to see what the top checkouts are every year. And I was too. I thought it was going to be all Darwin Wimpy Kid or all graphic novel. Like, honestly, I was very excited to see a little variety there. But I have right now, this is our first year to have a comma. We have over 1,000 students at my middle school, and I'm on a fixed flex schedule. So I have student library aides that work the checkout desk for me when I have classes. And so I'll see one particular reading teacher all day long, do my lessons with them. And then I'm also able to have kids check out other students in the meantime. My library is 100% genreified, from fiction to nonfiction to even graphic novels. I have 4 categories of those. So it was definitely the best thing I did for my library. My circulation went through the roof, especially when I did nonfiction, because it's in bins. And so it makes kids being able to go to different topics that they're interested in. they don't care about call numbers. In life, that's not really like a life skill for them either. So if we need to just keep the kids at the forefront of all that we're doing in our libraries, because if it doesn't make sense, but we do it just because that's the way we've always done it, that's not necessarily a good enough reason for me. So I jumped into this when I started 9 years ago at this campus and just threw myself into it. And 100% I can see the difference. So I'm a big champion for genreification. If you're thinking about it, please feel free to go to my website, read my blog, reach out to me, because I've shared a lot of my journey on there. And then I did start like a literacy event at my campus where I also reached out to our elementary feeder schools for a Comic-Con, which is what I got to talk to Shannon about on the podcast, because it has now like kind of blown up into a whole district-wide event this year, and I'm so excited for that. But yeah, and it goes back to the graphic novel stuff, right? Like if you have a teacher on your campus that says graphic novels aren't reading, not only am I going to challenge you on that and have you kind of change your thinking, I'm also going to show you a bunch of statistics. So leading up to that event, I would say on our announcements, I would say, did you know that Lexile levels tend to be higher in graphic novels than they are in regular novels? And just kind of share information like that. And then not only that, I was like, hey, let's throw a huge giant Comic-Con to celebrate all things graphic novels, because it tends to be my highest circulated genre section. And so I kind of try to approach it that way. If you have any teachers that might be a little bit pushing back on you with some of the graphic novel stuff, I get it also with ebooks and audiobooks. And I am a huge audiobook convert. And it's like how I get all those books read, because I can do it while I'm doing other things. So just having those conversations and then also like hyping it up, like showing the students love for it, that's going to be really big too. And then I've just linked all of these things in here. I'll briefly kind of talk about them because these are the things that I share on my social media pretty regularly. I do mood reader boards. So like, what are you in the mood to read? Right now, all the students are obsessed with football romance, right? We're in football season. And so they very much are putting those books on hold like crazy. So I do have some recommendations on there and lots of different age groups. And you're welcome to take a look at those for any sort of collection development that you might be doing right now. If you liked, shout out Melissa Corey. She came up with her visual book list website. And so I love to do the if you like this, then read this. Right now, the big show is actually The Uglies by Scott Westerfeld. It was turned into a show on Netflix. And so I went through and I found some different books that were kind of like that. Obviously, it's a dystopian feel, so I had a lot of those recommendations on there, and I just put them on like flip books that we have in the library that like Melissa. I also have it on our Apple TV on a revolving screen slideshow that just goes through them. I put them in our Canvas course, so that's what we use for our LMS, and I have the whole school enrolled in it, so they can constantly see book recommendations. I even use Shannon's every week that she made that has the big Bitmoji face with the book, and I do those every month as well. Super cute. Get lots of requests for the books that I put up there that I'm recommending. Also, like I said, I'm very active on social media. It's where I get a lot of ideas for doing some of these reading things. So, in addition to attending webinars and PD on this topic, really lean into your professional learning network. Because they will give you so many great ideas, and librarians are known for sharing. All my stuff is always free. Like I'm going to give it to everyone and let them use it how they need to, because we're all in it together. And then definitely, like I said, Facebook or X, depending on what your community uses, the platform, getting parents on our side for all of this is, especially right now when we're having some book challenges and things of that nature, as transparent as we can be with our catalog, with our books, the better. And the more that we can share with our community about all the great things happening in libraries is going to be benefit to everyone. I did do a book vending machine, and Shannon, we were talking about it before it started. She just got one at her campus too, and it really is a game changer. Like I think it was like East Nass teacher that used to have a shirt that said reading is the reward. And I love that because I've seen the damage that accelerated reader programs, things like that can do to kids and kill their love of reading. So rewarding kids with free books. Like it's pretty awesome. And I linked how I keep it stocked, because it's one thing to get the machine, but then you have to, you know, come up with where are the books coming from. We installed a little free library on my campus this year, so there's also that. It's in our little rain garden that we have. So I love keeping that stocked as well. And then, yeah, like podcast, I won a grant this past year for podcasting equipment, and we're going to start our own student podcast where and one of the episodes and or one of the series is going to be on book recommendations. So when I tell students to read a book, it's not always the same as when maybe their teacher tells them, or a student, like a peer, tells them to read a certain book or give recommendations and things of that nature. So definitely a great idea to get the word out about how to promote books, especially at middle school and high school, because the kids are listening to podcasts. That's how they're getting a lot of their information besides social media. In March, I do March Madness, a fun little bracket where kids get to vote on a Google form, and it's a lot of fun because they get really into it. But I do different themes each year. So it used to, one year was Project Lit. One year was, you know, if you have a state battle list, that could be a place to start of different books you could do. I've done graphic novel series. I've done like whatever's popular kind of happening right then at the time. Oh, last year it was books to TVs or movies, right? So what is your, you know, and of course the Summer I Turned Pretty one, if you know, you know. And then we started a Battle of the Books competition at middle school. It had always been a thing at the elementary, but the middle school didn't have one. And I was like, we need to change that because they do still read and they come in excited, and we need to continue that excitement with them and that love of literacy. So all of those are links to blogs on how I got started, how I did it, or resources that you can take and edit and change however you'd like.
I love all your ideas.
And yes, and then lastly, all of this is just about the Mythicon. It was called Unicon last year because our district is unicorns. That's our mascot. But then this year we split down the middle, and half of the town are unicorns and the other half are dragons. So we are now going to be calling it Mythicon, and I'll be continuing to update kind of how that works with creating a whole district literacy event as opposed to just one on my campus. But yeah, definitely keep y'all updated on that. And thank you, Shannon, for having me on the podcast to talk about it a little more.
I love all your ideas. And like I said earlier, follow Amanda on social because you're going to get tons of ideas, see all the things that she does. And I really like your videos too, girl. So do a good job. I'm also excited because we get to have now Deb on. And Deborah, you do such a amazing job, and you've been in different grade levels too. And so I always take in all the ideas because you get reading, and just like Amanda, you celebrate so many things that you share, you know, on social. And so I'm excited to hear what you're up to. And this is your third year at this school or second?
No, this is my first year. I was at the middle school for 3 years, and now I'm back in high school.
I love it.
Where I belong. That I just fit better in high school. So, but thank you for having me. Hi, everybody. I'm Deb Zeman, teacher librarian. I'm now at the high school. You can find me out on socials. I will put this out there that it's really hard to do a kind of webinar like this when one of your best friends is on here. And I had to look and see what Amanda shared before I shared my stuff. And I was like, nope, can't do that, can't do that, can't do that. Okay, I can do this. So I'll show you all the different ideas that I have. You can follow me on socials, on X and on Instagram at Z_Librarian. I changed my name a few years ago, like Blake said, because I was like, I don't want to just use my name. I want it to be part of what I am, my career, my profession. So I'm Zebrarian, and you can find me there. So yes, these are just the stats for the first month, really. I could have done month and a half. We have about 2,800 students at the school, plus we have a 9th grade center, which is literally right across the parking lot, where one of my other really close friends, Shannon Whiteley, is the 9th grade librarian. So we're doing a lot of cross-curricular stuff, which is really, really cool. I am on a flex schedule. The library is 100% genrefied except for nonfiction. That's something I'm going to do down the road because taking over a new library, they've had a couple of librarians in the last 4 years. So for 2 years with COVID, not much was happening. And then the other librarian came in. So now with my background, with all the reading lists and everything, I'm looking at what are we missing? What can I promote to the kids to really get them in? And like, I've hit the ground running and it's been pretty successful. And I mean, as you can see, it's nice to not see, as much as I love those books, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, it's not one of the top checkouts because it's not in the library. I took it out. They're not even in here. I was like, okay, let's promote the YA books, you know? So here's some of the things. Everything is linked here. You're more than welcome to use it. I believe they were all just the templates. One of the fun things I started doing was YA reads and Spotify lists. And people don't realize that the authors actually will create playlists for their own books. And so if you go search for Penguin Teen on Spotify, you will see a ton of brand new and within the last year YA books. So what I did is I created like 4x6 placards, put them in little frames. It has the just a fun little background I created using Adobe Express, and have the cover of the book, and then I have a QR code which leads the kids to the playlist. And the thing that's cool is it says created by the author. And like one of them I'm waiting patiently to see is Lynn Painter. Her new one, Nothing But the Movies, is every single chapter is a song. Well, I wrote them all down. It's like 60 songs. I'm like, okay, we're going to have to make 2 playlists because that's a lot. So that's one of the fun things, you know, watching the kids walk around with their phones and scanning and going, oh, okay. And I am careful making sure nothing's explicit, which is what's great about the authors being the ones to create it. They're not going to have stuff like that. Another thing that I've been doing, I got my first 5 done this week, was you love yourself bookmarks, and they're personalized bookmarks where kids go and stand with their favorite book. I have these big giant signage that I made. They'll stand by it like pointing like this, or they can do it with their friends. And I have the little bookmark pouches. I have the little laminator, and I just upload it in, print them out, cut them up, laminate them. And now the kids have their own. That was originally, I believe, created by our friend Karina Q, the librarian. Have to shout her out there. One of the big things I did last year, won an award for it, was promoting literacy through books and art by celebrating Texas authors. I'm on the Spirit of Texas reading committee list, and we had some money, and the designer for the school came in and he's like, what do you envision? And we went back and forth, and we created 3 feet by 8 foot vinyl bookmarks where it's the book cover. That it was amazing what the designer did, took the books, made it into the bookmark. But my center bookmark was my quote, the love of learning comes from the love of reading. And so what I did was I emailed 6 Texas authors that I'm friends with, and I said, hey, could you give me a quote based on this quote? It took them all of 30 minutes, all 6 of them, to immediately send me back stuff. And so I sent it to the designer. He sent me some PDFs, and the best was when I got to TLA, 4 of the authors were there. So I was able to show them the samples. I've already had Rose Brock came to my campus last year and got to see her bookmark. And I have a picture of her standing underneath, pointing up. So one of the grants that I did for this year was at this campus to do the same thing here. And I've already got all 6 YA authors already on board. I just have to wait for the grant, and I'm going to hit the ground running again. And we may have one of those authors coming in the spring for something I'll discuss in a little bit, the cross-curricular, cross-library. Another fun thing, Amanda and I have done this, is the Don't Fear the Media, where we teach the librarians and just educators, don't be afraid to get out on social media. Look at all the different ways that you can promote yourself, starting small. And so I've linked the presentation there where you can see all the different things that we have done to help teachers and librarians create their brands and ways they can do it, starting small. Another thing I do is First Line Friday videos, where it's a video I create. It's about 10 minutes, 10 seconds, not 10 minutes, 10 seconds long. And all of them, I have read the books. So it gives me an idea of what kind of background to create on the video. And so you'll start with a little bit, then you'll have that first line typed out, and then I'll have the book at the end. And I put them every Friday in the Canvas course, and guaranteed I have a kid come down, hey, that video that you got in the Canvas course, can I check out that book? I'm like, absolutely. And so I give them the book. Another fun thing I did, I had to switch it up because where my office is, the kids really can't see my door. But what I do is the books I have read this school year, I got that. I believe it was Amy Garlitz, who's a librarian Amanda and I know. She did it a few years ago, and I don't think she's done it since, where I cut out on vinyl books that I have read this year, put it on the door, and I make little, maybe 2-inch of the pictures of the book, and I just slap it on the door. And it's an easy, passive way to talk to the kids doing book talks. And they're just like, wow, you read a lot. I said, yeah, I do. And at the end of the year, they like to count up how many I have. And I'm not as bad as Amanda, but I'm getting there. Because I'm on 3 reading committees this year. So I'm going to break 300 this year. Never did that before, but. And then the last thing we do is we call it Shannon and I, because we do it the cross campus, is Throne Room Thoughts, also known as Potty PD. And what we started doing is it's not just an ed tech tool. We started putting book recommendations on there. And sure enough, I have teachers coming down, hey, I read about the book that you promoted. Do you have it in the library? And they check it out and they read it, and then they can either buy it for their classroom or they talk to their kids about it. So a lot of fun things that I do there. And of course, all the stuff that Amanda does, I do too. The Melissa Corey list. Half the time, Amanda and I are texting each other going, what are we going to do today? And we just come up with ideas together.
I think that's so great though, because like my sister Heather is a librarian, and so that's the person that I like, and I always see that, and I can tell with you too that that's so great, because having like a book bestie is like the best thing in the world, right? And
Yeah.
so I love that. I love all those ideas. Well, I'm gonna just find one question just to ask, since you guys shared so many amazing things. But I think this is one that I always find interesting, and I know that Amanda and Deb, you use Adobe a lot for things, but I think that that's one, thing that I think about, like digital storytelling, and I think about how we use Adobe or Canva. And so everybody, if you could just kind of go around and maybe talk about this for a few minutes, that would be great.
Oh, that's easy enough. One of the other things I use, not just Adobe and Canva to design, I use Wakelet, where
Yeah.
I'll curate, if I have a book order coming in, I will go and make columns for each genre, and I'll go find the book trailer, or I'll make that first line video for them, and then I just post it out on the Canvas course. I'm like, here you go, take a look at what's new. So they're not necessarily having to hunt it down. And, I'll do that. I'll curate things for different genres, put them in Wakelet, or it all just depends on the tool and how it helps us to enhance that reading.
Yeah.
With Flip being gone now, that was something I did use a lot, to have like students record. I know, right? To have students record little book talks, and share them out on our announcements or things like that. But there's lots of different ways you can do that. There's Chatter pics. There's in Adobe, there is a way to have an animation with mouth, and you can have the kids record for those that don't like to be on screen. I think Apple Clips, we're an iPad district, so Apple Clips is one that is a lot of fun too for the kids to do their own book recs. I do that during school library month in April, and so then the kids can choose the different things that they want to do to recommend a book to someone, and that's a lot of times what they like to do, because they like to tell how much they love a certain book. And I usually try to catch, and that's where I get with the Diver Wimpy Kid kids, because I'll be like, oh my gosh, you love these so much, like I love that, could you like tell me why you love them so much? And for me, they're like a comfort read for them, and I think all of us have that too, a book that just we want to read over and over because it makes us feel nostalgic or it reminds us of a certain person or a time in our life. And so I do like to ask them to do recs for that, because it's fun to hear, and so many love them. So yeah, let's talk about that all day.
And that
Blake,
also
what do you do?
becomes student voice and choice too. Go ahead and create this, but here's all these wonderful tools that you can use, and you let them run with it.
Definitely.
So I've used Canva, of course, and then I also use iMovie and an app called InShot. It's a free app that you can download. And one of the things that we started last year is we do the Eagle Eye News every Friday. So it's a preview of all the next week's events. So we added a book talk portion to that. And the kids really like to get on there, 30 seconds, hold up the book, tell what they liked about it, tell what they recommend it. We've just been working on good book reviews because we don't want them to spoil the surprise. And we're looking into getting the program Beanstack. So that'll be another technology aspect of like tracking minutes and stuff like that. So we're excited about that. Oh, and the kids do make the slides for the TVs, so they add in book recs on the slides for the TVs too.
Oh, fun. What was the one tool that you said you used?
The InShot app, InShot. Yeah, InShot. It's a free app and it's just super easy to use. You can upload all of your stuff to it. You can create like a graphic at the beginning. I've used it for years, and that's what I'd use in the library to do like my book preview video, so that we didn't have to talk over and over and over. We could just watch a video of the books, and then the kids got excited when their new books popped up on the screen.
I love these ideas. We're all going to be busy. I know you guys are amazing. And I think just the cool thing too, like we all said, the sharing and the ideas and how we can get things from each other is one of the best things about reading. If I would have been like a teenager with social media, I probably would have just read even more than I did, because it's so cool. And I think that that's just exciting for our kids. They're so lucky to have all of you and to have, the librarians that they do, and just to inspire us every day. So you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. And before we kind of wrap up and announce our winner too, which I'm excited, and I haven't looked at the chat because I'm just on one screen today, but I want to share just a few future ready resources. I want to share the slides again in case you didn't grab those, because our presenters shared a lot of links, and there are some links that you might want to get from the resources that we share too. And so you can either scan that or go to that bit.ly. And Leah, did you pick 2 winners for the giveaway?
See anybody put their, oh, yes, I did. I missed a bunch of people. Give me a second. You first.
I'm so excited. Do you want me to come back to you?
Yes, please. I'm gonna pick Laura Bandonier and Rachel Hensacker. So if you send, I'm gonna put my email address in here and send me a note, and I will send you a
I know these are
Starbucks
so
gift card.
they're so good, and like I said, that little catalog links to them too if anybody wants to check them out. Some of them are really scary, so they are very good, and I love it too because most of them are ebooks, and so that's a great thing too. But this webinar is actually part of our webinar series, and this year we have had so much fun having this series of 6, and we have one more in November. But when you go to this site, and everything is linked in the slides, you actually can find the recording to all of them there. And the one that is coming up, probably like one of my favorite things to do each year, are the App Smash. And I'm pretty sure that you three have been on the App Smash like every year we've had it. And this is the 5th year, and we are looking for people to present. The nice thing about the App Smash is that you can share whatever you love to use. And so we already heard like Deb, I was thinking when you talked about the playlist, like even though like that's not a tool or app, like what a great resource. Like, you know, like things that we think that other people would love to use and learn about, you can share about anything. And so you can apply to present at this link, and we will be sharing that really soon. Apply by November 1st, and the webinar is actually on November 20th. And so it's great because you get to hear like 25, you know, different tools and apps, and then kind of use those. I use that to kind of pick and choose throughout the year then. And so really, really great day of PD, and we would love to have you present too. If you're looking for more resources for Future Ready Librarians, you can go to our Future Ready Librarian Hub, where you can find the framework, you can find our conversation starter, the self-reflection, all kinds of resources that will help in your practice. And these are great things to share with your administrators, other librarians, even your teacher friends. Also, the Facebook group that we have is amazing. I love it. I learn so many things from it. And if you're not a member of that, you can find it there. We also have a podcast, what we were talking about, that Amanda was the guest this week. And this also joins some other podcasts that we have from Future Ready. We have Tom Murray and Adam and Carl too. And so great place to just hear so many awesome stories and inspiration. We have been having for, I think now 2 years, the EdTech Fusion virtual workshops. And if these are something that you're interested in finding, like a 1-hour virtual workshop for your teachers, sometimes we might be included in like the PD and what we do within our schools. And these are great because they are free, led by either Tom, Adam, or myself. And so if you're interested in that, you can find the link below. And then Leah and I are actually heading, which is crazy, next week to Arkansas. And this is something that is still open. And so if you're close or close by or want to travel, you can find the link there, and we would love to have you. It's on a Saturday, so we're really excited. And then next week, we actually go to Minnesota on October 15th. We're in the Capstone office that day. So we're really excited to have the forum. And then we have one more in Long Island in November. So you can find out more and how to register at the link below. But stay connected, not just with Future Ready Librarians, but with Future Ready. You can find us on all the things, on all the social, and tag Future Ready, but also Future Ready Libs. That's probably my favorite thing to follow. And a big thank you to Follett Content just for supporting Future Ready Librarians and everything that we do in our library and schools. And a big thank you to all of you for joining us, and especially to my guests. It was, number one, just great to see you all. And I love all the things that I learned. And I was sitting here thinking, like, I can't wait to click on all these links and see even more. And so you guys are doing amazing. And thanks as always for just joining and sharing all the great things that you do.
Can you share the link in the chat? People were asking for it.
Yes, let me put it up again.
Put it up on the screen.
Up again, and then we can share it in the chat. Yep. This is an easy one. And then you'll get the recording and the resources too. And I'll make sure to put that in the slides. And then that page, the nice thing about the webinars this year is everything is on that one page. And so you can find all those webinars there. But thank you, everybody. And hopefully everybody, I know that some people are on fall break and it's getting, well, I should say not cool. It's getting cool for me in Iowa, but not for you guys probably in Texas. So I love it. But enjoy your fall. And I hope that I see you all soon. And please sign up to be part of the November webinar. We would love to have everybody there too. So thank you guys, and have just a great night.